The male reproductive system. The organs of the male reproductive system include the testes, as symptoms of dogs called the genital tract that include the epididymis, vas deferens, and ejaculator ducts, and urethra accessory sex glands such as the seminal vesicles, prostate and bulbourethral glands, and supporting structures including the scrotum and the penis. The testes, which are the male gonads, produce sperm and secrete hormones. The duct system transports and stores sperm, assists in their maturation, and conveys them to the exterior. Semen contains sperm, with secretion provided by the accessory sex gland. The supporting structures have various functions. The penis delivers sperm into the female reproductive tract, and the scrotum supports the testes. The genital tract. Sperm produced by the testes mature within the epididymis, which are tightly coiled ducts lying outside the testes. Maturation is required for the sperm to be able to swim to the egg. When sperm leaves the epididymis, they enter a vas deferens, where they are stored. Each vas deferens passes into an abdominal cavity, where it curves around the urinary bladder and empties into an ejaculatory duct. The ejaculatory duct connects to the urethra. During ejaculation, sperm leave the penis in a fluid called semen. The seminal vesicles and the prostate gland and the bulbourethral gland add secretions to the semen. The seminal vesicles lie at the base of the bladder, and each has a duct that joins a vas deferens. The prostate gland is a single donut-shaped gland that surrounds the upper part of the urethra just below the urinary bladder. Bulbourethral glands are pea-sized organs that lie below the prostate on either side of the urethra. Each component of semen has a particular function. Sperm is more viable in a basic solution, and semen has a basic pH. Sperm requires energy, and semen contains the sugar fructose, which serves as an energy source. Semen also contains prostaglandins, local hormones that cause the uterus to contract, which helps the sperm to move towards the egg.
The penis is a male organ of sexual intercourse. It has a long shaft and enlarged tip called the glans penis, which is covered at birth by a layered foreskin. Circumcision is the surgical removal of the foreskin, usually done for religious reasons. The shaft of the penis has spongy erectile tissue containing the extensible blood spaces. When a man is sexually excited, the arteries in the penis relax and widen, increasing blood flow to the penis, causing it to become enlarged and erect. Also, the veins are usually carry blood away from the penis and compressed, thus maintaining the erection. When sexual stimulation intensifies, the sperm enters the urethra from the vasa deferentia, and the accessory glands contribute secretions to the semen. Once semen is in the urethra, rhythmic muscle contractions cause it to be ejaculated from the penis in spurts. During ejaculation, a sphincter closes of the urinary bladder so that no urine enters the urethra and no semen enters the bladder. The contractions that expel semen from the penis are part of male orgasm. The psychological and physical sensations that occur at the climax of sexual stimulation. The testes. The testes are the male gonads that make sex hormones and produce sperm. They are found inside the scrotum, which lie outside of the abdominal cavity. Testes develop within the abdominal cavity but descend into the scrotal sacs during the last 2 months of fetal development. If they fail to descend properly, male infertility will result because the internal temperature of the body is too high to produce viable sperm. The scrotum helps to regulate the temperature of the testes, holding them closer or farther away from the body. Any activity that increases in testicular temperature, such as taking hot baths, using a laptop, computer, or even swimming for extended periods of time can decrease sperm production. The testes are divided into compartments called lobules, which contain tightly coiled seminiferous tubules. A cross-section of a seminiferous tubule shows that it is packed with the cells undergoing spermatogenesis, the production of sperm. Newly formed spermatogonia move away from the outer wall and become primary spermatocytes that undergo meiosis 1 to produce secondary spermatocytes with 22 chromosomes. Secondary spermatocytes undergo meiosis second to produce four spermatids that are also haploid. Spermatids then differentiate into sperm. Certoid cells are also present in the seminiferous tubules, and their function is to support, nourish, and regulate the spermatogenetic cells. Interstitial cells are found between the seminiferous tubules, and they secrete the male sex hormones called androgens, the most important of which is testosterone.
Hormonal regulation in the male. The hypothalamus ultimately controls the functions of the testes because it secretes a hormone called gonadotropin releasing hormone that stimulates the anterior pituitary gland to secrete the gonadotropic hormones that control the testes. The gonadotropic hormones are follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone, and they are found in both males and in females. In females, FSH promotes the production of sperm in the seminiferous tubules, and LH promotes the production of testosterone by the interstitial cells. All these hormones are controlled by negative feedback mechanisms, which maintain the production of sperm and testosterone within the normal ranges. Testosterone is the main sex hormone in male and is essential for the normal development and function of the male sex organs. Testosterone also causes and maintains the male secondary sex characteristics that develop at puberty. Males are usually taller than females and have broader shoulders and longer legs relative to trunk length. They also develop a larger larynx with longer vocal cords than females do, resulting in a deeper voice and a more prominent Adam's apple. Testosterone causes males to develop hair on the face and chest, and sometimes on the back. It can also lead to the receding hairline and pattern baldness that occurs in aging males. The female reproductive system. The female reproductive system consists of the female gonads, the organs of the female reproductive tract, and the external female genitals. The gonads in the female consist of the ovaries, located one on each side of the upper pelvis, whose functions are to produce the oocytes or eggs in a process called oogenesis, and the female sex hormones estrogen and progesterone, which are the hormones that control the uterine cycle. One egg is usually produced per month in one of the ovaries and then released into the oviduct in a process called ovulation. Once the egg is released, it's viable for up to 24 hours. The female genital tract consists of the oviducts, the uterus, and the vagina. The oviducts or fallopian tubes extend from the uterus to the ovaries, but they are not attached to the ovaries, rather they end up in finger-like projections called fimbriae that together with the ciliate lining of the oviducts guides the egg into the oviducts and sweeps it towards the uterus. Fertilization of the egg with sperms takes place in the oviduct. The resulting zygote continues to divide as it travels towards the uterus, becoming an embryo. The embryo reaches the uterus in about 1 week. The uterus is a hollow muscular organ, but about the size and shape of an inverted pear. It is lined with a vascular tissue called the endometrium. This is where the embryo is invaded when it reaches the uterus, in a process called implantation. If the embryo implants somewhere other than the endometrium of the uterus, then it's considered an ectopic pregnancy. The endometrium forms part of the placenta. The uterus houses the developing embryo and has the capacity to stretch from 5 centimeters to 30 centimeters to accommodate the developing baby. The upper end of the uterus is connected to the oviducts, while at the lower end of the uterus is an opening called the cervix that connects with the vagina at a 90-degree angle. The vagina is a long muscular tube that lies at a 45-degree angle to the lower back. It receives the penis during sexual intercourse and serves as both birth canal and the exit for monthly menstruation flow. The external female genitals are collectively known as the vulva, and it includes the labia majora, labia minora, the glans, clitoris, and cleft with the openings of the urethra and vagina. The labia majora are two large hair-covered skin folds that extend from the mons pubic, which is a fatty prominence over the pubic bones covered with pubic hair. The labia minora are two small folds lying just inside the labia majora, and they extend from the opening of the vagina to circle the glans clitoris, forming the foreskin. The glans clitoris contains erectile tissue that becomes filled with blood during sexual stimulation. The cleft between the labia minora contains the openings of the urethra and the vagina. The vagina might be partially closed by a tissue called the hymen, which is ruptured by sexual intercourse or some other physical means.
Non-pregnant females normally exhibit cycle changes in the ovaries and uterus during their reproductive years. Each cycle takes about a month and consists of both oogenesis and preparation of the uterus to receive a fertilized egg. Hormones secreted from the hypothalamus, the anterior pituitary gland, and the ovaries control the main events of the cycle. The ovarian cycle includes a series of events that occur during and after the maturation of an oocyte. The uterine cycle involves a series of changes in the endometrium of the uterus to prepare it for the arrival of a fertilized egg that will develop there until birth. The hormones secreted from the ovaries during the ovarian cycle control the events of the uterine cycle. The ovarian and uterine cycles and the hormonal changes that regulate them are known as the female reproductive cycle. Gonadotropin releasing hormone controls the cycles by stimulating follicle stimulating hormone and LH from the anterior pituitary gland. The duration of the female reproductive cycle typically ranges from 24 to 34 days. For the sake of discussion, we will describe a 28-day cycle. A longitudinal section of an ovary shows that it is made up of an outer cortex surrounding an inner medulla. The outer cortex contains thousands of immature follicles, which are made up of an immature oocyte surrounded by a layer of epithelial cells. A female is born with all the follicles that she will ever have, about 700,000. However, only about 400 of these follicles will ever mature. Since oocytes are present at birth, they are the same age as the female, which explains why older women are more prone to have children who are born with genetic defects. The ovarian cycle is divided into three parts: the follicular phase, ovulation, and the luteal phase. During the follicular phase, FSH, released by the anterior pituitary gland, stimulates the development of a follicle in one of the ovaries. Oogenesis is initiated when a follicle matures. The epithelial cells of the follicle multiply and secure the female sex hormones, mainly estrogen. When estrogen levels rise, negative feedback stops the secretion of the FSH so that the follicular phase comes to an end. Ovulation is the release of the secondary oocyte from the follicle and into the oviduct. Day 14 of 28 cycle. After ovulation, the luteal phase begins. LH promotes the development of the corpus luteum, which consists of the follicle cells left behind after ovulation. The corpus luteum secretes female sex hormones, mainly progesterone. The uterine cycle. The female hormones estrogen and progesterone produced by the ovaries during the ovarian cycle affect the endometrium, causing the uterus to undergo the cycling changes known as the uterine cycle. The uterine cycle can be divided into three parts: menstruation, the proliferative phase, and the secretory phase. Menstruation lasts day 1 to about day 5. And consists of the breakdown of the endometrium with blood passing out of the vagina. The low levels of female sex hormones cause menstruation to occur. The proliferative phase is from day 6 to 13 and consists of the buildup of the endometrium, which becomes more vascular and glandular. The proliferative phase is caused by the increased production of estrogen by the new developing foci. The secretory phase is from day 15 to 28 and consists of the endometrium doubling up or tripling in thickness and uterine glands, producing a thick mucous secretion. The secretion of progesterone by the corpus luteum causes the secretory phase. The endometrium is now prepared to receive a developing embryo. If fertilization and implantation do not occur, the corpus luteum will degenerate, resulting in lower levels of the sex hormones that will lead to the breakdown of the endometrium and menstruation.
Fertilization and pregnancy. If fertilization takes place, an embryo begins to develop as it travels down the oviduct to the uterus. The endometrium is prepared to receive the developing embryo, which becomes implanted in about a week after fertilization and pregnancy has begun. The placenta sustains the developing embryo and originates from both maternal and fetal tissues. It is the area of nutrient, gas, and waste exchange between maternal and fetal blood. At first, the placenta produces the HCG hormone, which maintains the corpus luteum until the placenta begins to produce estrogen and progesterone. A pregnancy test detects the presence of the hormone HCG in the blood or urine about 10 days after fertilization. Progesterone and estrogen produced by the placenta shut down the anterior pituitary by negative feedback so that no new follicles mature, and they maintain the endometrium so that the corpus luteum is no longer needed.